Yeah, swimming has a problem. I don't think that's really a secret to anybody that follows swimming or is in swimming. I probably could have titled it Swimming Has Many Problems or Swimming Has Problems, but we'll just stick it to one specific problem that kind of covers the entire sport and what I'm talking about here. So I'll go ahead and dive right into it. I won't yap too much unless you want to hear me yap. I'll probably have this video going for probably 8 to 9 minutes because I have a lot to talk about. The problem with swimming is that we don't ever try anything new. We don't. I mean, the reality of our sport, especially at the collegiate level, I'm talking about NCAA swimming. You know, we could apply this to the world stage as well. We have kind of a broken event schedule there, in my opinion. We don't really do anything transformative. We just kind of do what we've always done. We do the Olympics, we do world championships, we have, like Pan Ams, we have stuff like that. We have Pan Packs, but we don't really try anything transformative. We don't really shuffle things up very much. So talking specifically about the NCAA, I think one of the really cool things that we could do that's super easy, super low hanging fruit is add the 100 IM. I think the 100 IM is a really cool event. And in the ISL and in the short course meters pool, it's like one of the most exciting events. Caleb Dressel's 100 IM at an ISL meet, when I think he went like 49 in a short course meter 100 IM, is one of like the most incredible swims I've ever seen in my life. We see incredible things in the long course pool at the Olympics because there's a lot on the line. But we don't really try anything outside of like shuffling around the event schedule, which isn't transformative by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe it'll make people swim a little bit differently throughout a 5-day championship meet, but we don't really try much. And the reason that I'm bringing this up and the reason that it's kind of top of mind for me is I look at sports like football. It's a pretty good sport to look at. I'm talking about American football, where you throw the ball, you catch the ball, you get tackled, you have 4 downs, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't get 10 yards and 4 downs, then the other team. But what they've done structurally is they've looked at their sport and the bowl games and kind of like how you qualify for bowls and looked at it and gone, I don't know if this is the right way to do things. I don't know if this is perfectly digestible for the casual fan that wants to see a champion. Look at baseball. You have a champion. You have a World Series champion. Champion of the world, World Series. Noah Lyles probably wouldn't be happy that I'm saying stuff like that.
World champion of what?
You have a winner. There is an overall winner. So you look at the Olympics for swimming. Team USA had 8 gold medals, most gold medals, most overall medals. I think we can kind of all agree that they won the Olympics, but they didn't really win the Olympics for swimming. There's really no like trophy. At the NCAA level, you can win a 5-day championship meet and you get the NCAA championship trophy. But that is really one of 2 opportunities that you have to win anything meaningful and have it actually matter throughout the season. Dual meets don't really matter. Bottom line, don't matter. They don't. You can win a dual meet and you can go home and you'll probably forget about it the next day, which is a problem. It's a serious problem to have. I mean, why would a fan want to come to a meet where winning and losing doesn't really matter? And more often than not, we don't even really pay too much attention to the score. It's not something that we prioritize in venue. We don't have it really on the scoreboard too much. It's starting to change a little bit now, but it's not something that really matters, right? It's something that we just do. Conference meets, those are great. Winning a conference championship is awesome. It is. It's really cool. But everyone is focused on what's happening next. There's not really a like pure focus on winning a conference title. It's another 5-day championship meet that is difficult to follow, and it's a really long thing to follow where after day 1, someone's in the lead. After day 2, someone else is in the lead, but no one's winning day by day. There's not a win-loss. There's not a show up and watch your team either win or lose. You win tiny like individual titles and relay titles, and they add up to maybe an entire championship. In football, they decided to go to a playoff format, which I think was an incredibly smart move. It's very palatable, very comparable to the way that a lot of other sports operate. Basketball, March Madness, ring a bell. It's a pretty good one. They're doing okay. And then they even went as far to go 4-team playoff. Let's do an 8-team. Let's do a 12-team playoff now. Where now you've got this situation where everyone's playing to get into this playoff. You've got a committee that makes the right or wrong decisions and allows for a little bit of conversation to kind of palpate through the entire football fan community. Did they make the right choice? Did they make the wrong choice? It's all conversation that is being had. It's all good for the sport, in my opinion. Whether you think you're on the right side or the wrong side of the decision of the committee, it's something that can create interest. It is, and it can create interest outside of the sport. If you are a Florida State fan and you don't get into the college football playoff,
why didn't my team get in?
You start getting loud about it. And then people that are Florida State fans, but maybe don't like watch football too much, but that's their school, that's where they went. They're like, wait, why didn't we get in? How did we not get in? I thought our team was good. They're starting to learn about the system. and they're starting to get involved. And now maybe next season, they're like, I'm going to go to a couple games. I'm going to watch this. I want to see our team get in. I want to get behind this. In swimming, it's one of those situations where we just kind of, boom, have an NCAA championship, somebody wins, and then it's over. That's it. There's no season. There's no story. And in football now, you've got what already had a season and a story where every single piece of it mattered. Every single part of it mattered. It was a 6-month story or something along those lines. I think it's like 6. It's crazy that swimming's actually a longer season than football when our season doesn't really matter. It's really just working out. And then we have a 5-day championship. In football now, they have a story that goes from the beginning all the way to a selection committee telling you whether you made it or not. And then you have an entire another playoff thing that lasts 1 round, 2 round, 3 round, 4 round, I think. You have, let me do the math, 12, 6. I don't know how it works. Honestly, I don't know how it works. I think it's probably like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. If you know, drop it in the comment section. But you have these stories within stories that create this awesome season for people to follow that ends with one team winning a head-to-head matchup for everything. There's something on the line. One team wins, one team loses. Very easy to keep up with. In swimming, we have a system that allows for 0 interest in the season for most of the season. You have to manufacture that interest, and we have to often do that with data. So this is coming from my perspective. It's a little bit into the weeds here, but from my point of view, most of the excitement that I have to create throughout the season, or get to create, I'm lucky to be in this position, is based on data. We'll use Ilya Karun for an example. What he does throughout the season is go like 19.5, 19.6 on relays and 50 butterflies. And he's suited up, ASU suits up all year. See how deep into the weeds this is getting for me to have to tell this story and say, hey, later on in the season, you're going to care about this, so I'm going to bring it up consistently. He goes 19.5, 19.6 all season long. All season long. Well, okay, you went 19.5. Like, why should you be excited? Because there's actually nothing really on the line here. It's just bragging rights. So going 19.5 in this situation is really interesting. Even though this meet doesn't matter from a win-loss perspective, it's a really difficult and complex story to tell to even a fan of the sport, but an even more difficult and complex story to tell to a fan of another sport that's maybe considering getting into swimming because they just watched it at the Olympics. My beef with the way the sport is operating right now is we are not willing for some reason to make a change that looks anything like most of the successful sports from a revenue perspective, from an interest perspective. We're not willing to make any of those adjustments. The adjustments that we're making is we're changing the schedule once every 3 years, which makes it honestly confusing for me. From someone that covers the sport, all of a sudden, like, conferences look different than the NCAA championships, and that's our championship game. Why do they look different? Why would we make anything look different? Imagine a 5-quarter basketball game just thrown into the middle of the season. Imagine a 70-minute soccer game, and then the next week you have a 90-minute soccer game. It doesn't make any sense. A lot of the things that we do, when you look at it really plainly, are almost like they feel intentionally bad from an interest and a fan's point of view. My whole thing here, maybe it was just me wanting to go on a rant. Hopefully you listen. And if you have any ideas on how we could start to just move this ball forward, or what you'd want to see from a fan's point of view, please drop them in the comments section, or like the video on the way down there. Just for me, the beef that I have with swimming is that we haven't tried anything. We just got to try something. All right. From a structural and from a governmental or governing body point of view, we have to start trying something. And we need coaches to start to speak up and at least voice the fact that they also potentially agree, and they do. I've talked to a lot of coaches and a lot of them agree. We need to try something, because the way that things look in swimming right now, that money that we're sucking in from a basketball and a football and tuition money is going to dry up, and this sport's going to change really quickly if we don't start to look at it from a different point of view. This sport needs to be consistently interesting, and it needs to be digestible for fans and for swimming fans, and also for an ESPN from a broadcasting perspective. We got to change our brains to start to want to fit into that mold, as opposed to trying to fit into our mold that breeds high performance swimming. High performance swimming is great. It's really fun. We love world records. But if this sport relies on a world record for excitement, we are in for a either long, slow demise or a very quick one, neither of which look good.